When AI starts turning civil rights icons into jokes, and Elon Musk calls it freedom, you know something's seriously wrong with the future we're building. Lately, a lot of people have started paying close attention to what's happening with Soar AI, the latest technology developed under OpenAI. At first glance, it looked like just another advancement in the ever-evolving world of artificial intelligence, another shiny tool designed to make digital creativity easier. But as the days went on, and as clips started to flood TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, people began realizing that Soar AI wasn't just another filter or editing app. It was something far more powerful, and depending on who you ask, far more concerning. If you've spent even a few minutes scrolling through social media lately, chances are you've stumbled upon a video that made you stop and look twice. Maybe it was a celebrity delivering a speech they never actually gave, or a historical figure suddenly appearing to sing a pop song. Some of these videos are so lifelike that even seasoned editors and AI enthusiasts have to pause before deciding whether they're real or generated. The realism is uncanny. The lighting, the micro-expressions, even the breathing patterns, all rendered with stunning accuracy. At first, people laughed. The internet treated Soar AI as a source of entertainment. Influencers were using it to recreate movie scenes, to imagine what famous musicians might look like performing modern hits, or to generate mashups of fictional characters interacting in real settings. It was all in good fun, or at least that's how it seemed. Comment sections were filled with playful disbelief. "There's no way this is fake." Or, "AI is getting too good. This is scary but cool." But as the novelty wore off, a darker side of this technology began to reveal itself. Slowly, the line between humor and horror started to blur. More unsettling and hyper-realistic clips began surfacing, ones that didn't just mimic famous people, but twisted their image, voice, and reputation in ways that felt deeply invasive. There were videos that appeared to show public figures saying things they never said, or behaving in ways completely out of character. For a moment, if you didn't know any better, you might believe the impossible. That's where the unease began. What started as curiosity and laughter transformed into collective anxiety about the future of truth itself. People began to ask questions that didn't have easy answers. If AI can perfectly mimic anyone, how can we trust what we see online? What happens when fake videos start shaping public opinion or tarnishing someone's legacy? This fear isn't entirely new. We've seen early warning signs for years, with the rise of deepfake videos and synthetic voices that could replicate a person's speech patterns from a few seconds of audio. But Soar AI represents something more advanced, a system so powerful that it can blend digital illusion with reality almost seamlessly. You no longer need a team of skilled visual effects artists or expensive software to make a convincing fake. Now all it takes is a few prompts and a little imagination, and that accessibility is exactly what makes people nervous. On one hand, it democratizes creativity, allowing ordinary users to bring extraordinary ideas to life. On the other hand, it places immense power in the hands of anyone with an internet connection. It's like handing every person on the planet a movie studio capable of rewriting history, and not everyone will use it. Responsibly, many creators online argue that this is just the next step in the digital revolution, a new artistic medium. They compare it to the invention of photography, which once sparked fear that painted portraits would become obsolete. They remind critics that every technological leap comes with moral panic. But others believe this moment is different. The realism of Soar AI doesn't just challenge art. It challenges reality itself. Consider how easily misinformation can spread today. A single convincing video posted on TikTok can reach millions within hours, long before fact-checkers or experts can verify its authenticity. People share content emotionally, not logically, and in a world where seeing has always meant believing, that instinct becomes dangerous. If an AI-generated clip shows a politician saying something offensive, or a celebrity involved in a scandalous act, public outrage might explode before anyone realizes it's fake. The reputational damage could be irreversible, truth arriving too late to matter. Beyond the social and political implications, there's also the emotional one. Watching these hyper-realistic AI videos triggers something deeply psychological. It taps into what researchers call the uncanny valley. That eerie feeling we get when something looks almost human but not quite. The brain struggles to process the dissonance between recognition and artificiality. Soar AI sits right in that uncanny valley. producing creations that are familiar enough to be believable, yet strange enough to unsettle us at a subconscious level. Some experts have pointed out that this unease might be necessary. It forces society to confront how fragile our sense of reality has become in the digital age. The internet was once a place to share information. Now it's a place where reality can be rewritten, remixed, and reshaped in real time. AI tools like SOAR challenge us to rethink what authenticity even means. When the same technology that can resurrect long-dead artists can also fabricate lies about living ones, we have to decide what ethical boundaries to enforce and who gets to draw them. For OpenAI, the company behind SOAR, this moment is both a triumph and a test. Their stated goal has always been to create AI that benefits humanity, not harms it. But as we've seen with every powerful tool, intent doesn't always match outcome. The company now faces growing pressure to regulate how SOAR's models are used, to ensure that creative freedom doesn't come at the expense of truth, dignity, or safety. Meanwhile, users continue experimenting, pushing the limits of what SOAR can do. Some use it to create educational content, reimagining historical events in vivid realism. Others use it for artistic storytelling or nostalgia, bringing beloved cultural icons back to life. But for every wholesome creation, there's an unsettling one lurking in the algorithmic shadows. A reminder that innovation and manipulation often evolve side by side. As a result, conversations about AI ethics, digital consent, and authenticity are becoming louder. Should people have the right to control how their likeness is used, even after death? Should AI-generated videos be required to include a watermark or label? And most importantly, how can society maintain a shared sense of reality when technology itself can fabricate convincing lies? The answers aren't simple. What's clear, though, is that we're entering a new era, one where the boundaries between truth and simulation grow thinner every day. SOAR AI isn't just another trending app. It's a mirror reflecting our collective obsession with perfection, control, and the power to create without consequence. At first, it was funny, a harmless digital toy. But as the illusion deepens, people are realizing that SOAR AI isn't just shaping content. It's shaping perception. And in a world already struggling with misinformation, polarization, and mistrust, that's a shift we can't afford to ignore. So next time you scroll past a video that seems too real to be true, it might be worth asking yourself, is it real at all? Because with SOAR AI, the answer is rarely as simple as it seems.
Here today because the idea of freedom cannot be chained by the hands of time.
Peanut butter!
Got it. All right, son. Thank you. Let's give him a hand.
Naturally, this controversy didn't sit well with many people, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s own daughter, who quickly took action. As time went on, the conversation around AI continued to evolve. On one hand, artificial intelligence has made life more efficient for countless people worldwide. On the other, it sparked heated debates about bias and fairness. For instance, while some accuse AI systems of perpetuating racism, others, like Elon Musk, dismiss those claims as exaggerated or misplaced. In response to the offensive videos that used Dr. King's likeness in disrespectful ways, the King Estate and OpenAI issued a joint statement. Together, they announced that OpenAI had paused all generations depicting Dr. King, while implementing stronger safeguards around the use of historical figures in AI-generated content. Interestingly, Elon Musk himself is deeply embedded in the AI space. Beyond his outspoken opinions on diversity and inclusion programs, many of which he's worked to dismantle, he also runs his own AI company, xAI. The company has gained significant traction, even opening a large facility in Memphis, which has stirred a mix of excitement and concern among the public.
Tremendous opportunity, an opportunity for us to take our economy to the...
Not everyone in Memphis is celebrating what's unfolding there. In fact, Elon Musk's latest venture, his company xAI, has stirred both excitement and controversy. Musk claims xAI has built the world's most powerful supercomputer, capable of processing data at unprecedented speeds. To some, this represents a major leap forward for innovation and the city's economy. Memphis Mayor Paul Young even described it as a tremendous opportunity to elevate the region's future. But for residents of South Memphis, particularly in Boxtown, one of the city's poorest neighborhoods, the story feels very different. Boxtown has long struggled with pollution, poor air quality, and reduced life expectancy, with residents living nearly a decade less than the national average. Many feel that Musk's ambitious project, built so close to their community, disregards the environmental and social toll on the very people who already bear the heaviest burdens. Musk has often brushed aside discussions about racism, calling the topic tired and unnecessary. Yet his actions and public behavior tell a more complicated story. For instance, when an AI-generated video recently appeared online showing Tupac Shakur and Elon Musk hanging out and smoking together, many were shocked. While clearly fake, the image struck a nerve. Tupac, an outspoken critic of racism and systemic injustice, would never have aligned himself with Musk's worldview. The two stand on opposite ends of the ideological spectrum. Still, Musk had no issue reposting the image and even gave credit to the AI tool that produced it, seemingly unbothered by how exploitative or tone-deaf it appeared. Contrast that with Elon Musk's reaction when conservative commentator Charlie Kirk passed away. The difference is striking. In the aftermath of Kirk's death, Musk went out of his way to show respect. He praised Kirk publicly, called him a voice of truth, and even took time from his relentless schedule to attend the memorial service in Arizona. It was a moment that revealed Musk's deeply personal sense of loyalty to certain figures, especially those who align with his worldview. What stood out even more, though, was what happened online. When a Tesla employee made a disrespectful comment about Kirk on social media, Musk noticed personally. Despite being the CEO of several massive companies, he took the time to respond directly to the situation. He searched to see whether that individual still worked at Tesla. When he found that they had already moved on to another job, Musk seemed satisfied, but his involvement sent a clear message. Mockery of people he respected would not be tolerated. To some, this level of personal engagement is admirable. It shows that Musk pays attention, that he cares deeply about loyalty, and that he's willing to stand up for people he believes in. But to others, it reveals something more troubling, a kind of moral selectiveness. Because while Musk is quick to defend allies like Charlie Kirk, he shows little concern when marginalized voices or cultural icons are disrespected, particularly when it happens in spaces he controls. And that's the deeper issue here. Musk frequently claims to oppose racism and identity politics, portraying himself as someone who wants to rise above tribalism and division. He often frames his mission as a push for fairness, a return to open dialogue and free thought. Yet, in practice, he seems to amplify or benefit from the very dynamics he criticizes. Nowhere is this more visible than on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Since Musk's takeover, he has transformed it into what he calls the world's digital town square. His stated goal was to restore free speech, to make X a place where anyone, regardless of political leaning, could express themselves without fear of censorship. But the reality has been far more complicated. Under Musk's leadership, X has become an increasingly polarized and chaotic environment. The platform's moderation policies have loosened dramatically, and many accounts that were previously banned for promoting hate speech or misinformation have been reinstated. Among them are figures like Nick Fuentes, a far-right activist known for openly racist and anti-Semitic rhetoric. His return, along with that of other extremist voices, raised serious concerns about what kind of free speech Musk was actually promoting. Critics argue that Musk's version of free speech seems to lean heavily toward one side of the political spectrum, one that caters to outrage, division, and sensationalism. Content that targets minorities, spreads conspiracy theories, or undermines social progress tends to flourish under his watch. At the same time, voices that call out these issues are often drowned out, harassed, or quietly deprioritized in the platform's algorithms. This selective tolerance paints a clearer picture of Musk's priorities. It's not that he's against speech regulations in principle. It's that he appears to oppose them only when they affect people or ideologies he supports. When the criticism or disrespect is aimed at someone like Charlie Kirk, a man whose politics Musk finds agreeable, Musk becomes the enforcer of civility. But when the target is someone from a marginalized background, or a public figure known for advocating social justice, the rules suddenly change. To understand this contradiction, you have to look at how Musk frames himself. He often presents his persona as that of a disruptor, someone challenging the establishment, fighting against censorship, and exposing the hypocrisy of the woke elite. It's a narrative that resonates with millions of his followers, who see him as a visionary unafraid to speak uncomfortable truths. Yet, this same narrative gives him license to overlook the harm that comes from the very movements he empowers. When right-wing influencers on X make racist or sexist comments, Musk tends to defend them under the banner of free expression. When journalists, activists, or ordinary users criticize him or his companies, however, they're often met with mockery, algorithmic suppression, or outright bans. It's a pattern that reveals not a commitment to free speech, but rather a commitment to control. Control over the conversation, control over public image, and control over who gets to define what truth looks like. The irony is that Musk's approach mirrors the same ideological echo chambers he claims to despise. By prioritizing certain narratives while dismissing others, he's building his own version of the digital establishment, one where dissent is welcome only if it doesn't challenge his perspective. And because he holds the keys to one of the most influential communication platforms in the world, this bias has real consequences. For example, the normalization of hate speech on X has emboldened extremist communities. Accounts that once existed in the dark corners of the internet now have mainstream reach, amplified by the platform's new algorithms that prioritize engagement, meaning the most provocative. Emotional and divisive content rises to the top. This environment doesn't just erode public trust. It weaponizes misinformation and fuels real-world hostility. Meanwhile, Musk continues to insist that X represents a more honest version of public discourse, one that cuts through political correctness and gives power back to the people. But what kind of honesty are we talking about when the loudest voices belong to those who thrive on outrage and prejudice? What kind of free speech is it when the marginalized are shouted down, mocked, or digitally erased in the name of engagement metrics? Musk's defenders often argue that he's simply allowing the marketplace of ideas to function, that he's letting people speak and the public decide what's true. But history shows that unchecked speech, especially when paired with algorithms designed to reward outrage, doesn't produce enlightenment. It produces chaos. It strengthens those already in power and silences those without it. The most telling part of this dynamic is how Musk chooses to use his own voice. When it comes to figures like Charlie Kirk, he shows restraint, reverence, and empathy. When it comes to broader issues of racism, inequality, or historical injustice, he often resorts to dismissiveness, suggesting that such topics are overblown or outdated. In doing so, he sends an implicit message. Some forms of disrespect matter more than others, and some lives, or legacies, are more worthy of protection. This double standard undermines his claims of neutrality. It suggests that Musk isn't as interested in eliminating bias as he is in redefining it. His digital empire thrives on controversy, and in that sense, outrage isn't a problem, it's a product. Every viral clash, every culture war skirmish, every inflammatory tweet keeps people engaged, scrolling, and arguing. And that engagement translates directly into profit. So when Musk talks about defending free speech, it's hard not to see the subtext. What he's really defending is a business model built on division, a system where outrage drives clicks, and clicks drive revenue. Whether the cost is social cohesion, truth, or moral consistency doesn't seem to matter. In the end, Musk's reaction to Charlie Kirk's death and his simultaneous tolerance of hate on X aren't separate stories. They're two sides of the same coin. They reveal a worldview where empathy is conditional, accountability is selective, and power always bends toward convenience. And that's why the conversation around Musk isn't just about one man's behavior. It's about what happens when one of the world's most influential figures uses the language of freedom to justify control. Because in that contradiction lies one of the greatest ethical challenges of our digital age. When truth becomes subjective, and morality becomes optional, who decides what's real, and who gets silenced in the process?
He was killed because his words made a difference. Because he was showing people the light. And he was killed by the dark.
So when Musk says he's tired of racism, it's worth asking, is he tired of the conversation or just tired of being called out? Because in the end, his actions show that he's willing to exploit race and controversy whenever it benefits him or his companies. And that's why so many people, especially those directly affected by his ventures, find it hard to trust his version of progress.